The story begins in Busan, in 1999. Seri, the protagonist, looks back on her younger years, before life got so busy. From childhood she had a bold streak. The moment she liked a classmate, she decided to confess without fear. The boy liked her too, of course, who could resist? But just 2 days later he suddenly changed schools, as if nothing had happened. Seri tried to move on and joked to herself that she'd meet the one someday. Then her hair had its own opinion, it started to curl out of nowhere. That became an obsession, especially because her twin sister, Haeri, had perfectly straight hair. Though they were twins, their faces and hair were different, not identical at all. Seri always felt like she wasn't the favorite, and it got worse when she fell in love again. During that phase Seri wanted straight hair no matter what. She kept spraying water, hoping for a miracle smooth look, all to prepare to confess to her new crush. But fate stepped in. When the doorbell rang, she rushed to answer it, flustered, and the neighbor saw her exactly the way she feared. Instead of asking Seri out, he ended up dating Haeri. It was traumatic, the kind of moment that makes you swear never to confess again. A promise good only until the next crush. One summer morning Seri woke up excited for school, listening to music on her tape player while trying anything to keep her hair straight. Haeri showed up, grabbed the tape player, and the sisters bickered like always. Their mom, of course, sided with Haeri because she claimed she was listening to school lessons. Their dad, glued to a soccer match on TV, cheered for an impossible goal, and Seri tossed in a witty comment, never missing a chance for a joke. Finally, she headed out to meet her friends. They played silly games on the way to school, like whoever blinks first carries the other's backpack. When they arrived, everyone was buzzing about Hyun, the most handsome, most wanted boy around. Seri felt shy, hiding half her face behind her hair, and swore he had waved at her like they already knew each other. She remembered seeing him the day before at the beach, she was swimming, he was walking out of the water like a movie scene, and her heart skipped 3 beats. On the school's special class list, a room for top students, Hyun's name stood out. There was even a legend that if a boy invited a girl to date in that classroom, she'd say yes on the spot. Total urban school myth vibes. In class the teacher brought big news. The school trip, cancelled the year before because of a storm, was finally happening. Everyone went wild. During break Hyun became the star of the courtyard. Seri, swept up in the excitement, decided she had to confess. Her promise of never again didn't last longer than a notebook doodle. In the cafeteria the school was selling a Hyun-themed juice, he was basically the school's poster boy and everyone wrote their name on the cup. Seri wanted to join in, but the cashier said the whole school had already. After class she ran into another girl with curly hair just like hers, also drinking that juice. But the girl looked at her like, "Have you straightened that yet, sweetheart?" Ironically, they had the same hair type. Later, Seri went back to the sea, dreaming of another chance meeting with Hyun. While she floated, a boy named Yoon-Seok on the shore saw her uniform with her name. In the commotion he fell into the water, he couldn't swim. Seri rushed to save him, unsure whether to start CPR or scream for help. No one else was around. Just as she got close, he snapped awake. They both jumped from the shock. She scolded him and rescued her own shirt that had fallen in, warning how dangerous that was. The next day in class the teacher introduced a new student, Yoon-Seok, from Seoul. Seri was stunned to meet the boy she'd just saved. He seemed distant, not eager to socialize, so she didn't push. It rained that morning, and a friend noticed Yoon-Seok awkwardly holding an umbrella and his backpack with his leg in a cast. Seri thought it was awful that nobody helped. She carried his bag and held the umbrella. At the entrance the hall monitor scolded the boys for not assisting sooner. Seri got a lecture too, because her name tag was missing, she had lost it, and she slipped away quietly. At lunch, starving, she felt sorry for Yoon-Seok and invited him to eat with the group. Everyone welcomed the new kid. Her friends teased that since Seri saved him, he owed everyone ice cream. Generously, he agreed. Outside, while they enjoyed the break, Yoon-Seok secretly pulled Seri's name tag from his pocket, he'd found it, but chose not to return it yet. The group guessed someone might have taken it as a sign of interest. Romantic Seri imagined it could be Hyun himself and started dreaming of a date until she got hit in the head with a stray ball from Hyun's game. Hyun came to apologize, and Seri nearly fainted with excitement. Her friends insisted it was a sign he liked her, while down-to-earth Yoon-Seok reminded them it was just an accident. Soon came a shock. Wendy, the other curly-haired girl, showed up with perfectly straight hair. Seri was stunned. Wendy swore it wasn't a one-day straightener, it was a permanent treatment, and gave the name of a salon where she'd paid 200,000 won. Way too much for Seri. Still hopeful, Seri went to that salon. The owner said her hair was damaged but promised a miracle. Seri tried to save every coin, almost joking she'd sell half the house, but the price stayed out of reach. As she stood discouraged outside the salon, she saw Yoon-Seok walk in and call the owner Mom. A light bulb went off. Seri started getting closer to him. She waved to him at school and even arrived at the salon before he did, striking up a conversation with his mother. When Seri mentioned saving him from the sea, his mom, surprised and worried, was grateful. She offered Seri a deal: if Seri helped Yoon-Seok during his recovery, crossing streets, getting to school, whatever he needed, she'd give Seri the hair straightening treatment as a gift when his cast came off. From then on, Seri became his full-time partner. She picked him up, helped with shoes, crossed streets, studied together, a total VIP helper. She even handed out flyers for the salon, campaigning for her dream of silky straight hair. One day Seri hid behind Yoon-Seok so Hyun wouldn't see her, and he grinned, playing her human shield. They ran into her father's storage room to change out of wet clothes, and Seri trusted him enough to reveal the code to her dad's book stash. Their trust level was sky high. Seri gathered her friends and announced her plan to confess to Hyun. They folded piles of little notes to fill a jar of encouragement. Yoon-Seok grumbled that he was too busy but ended up helping more than anyone. Seri felt torn between preparing her confession and continuing to care for him. Then came the mock exam. Yoon-Seok calmly turned in his test, obviously well prepared. When the special class results were posted, surprise, Yoon-Seok got in. Hyun dropped in the rankings. Seri's dream of standing in that top classroom to confess her feelings turned to frustration. At home, she overheard a neighbor telling her mom about Yoon-Seok's family. His mother owned the salon, his father was a doctor and a professor at a major hospital. But behind the success was a troubled story. Because of jealousy and controlling behavior, the home situation was heavy, and they had escaped to Busan to breathe. Even so, Yoon-Seok was brilliant, first place on the monthly mock exam. The next night, Seri went to her father's library and found Yoon-Seok reading comics. He had made piles of little tickets for her note jar, a sweet gesture, but teased her that Hyun might never return it. Seri replied that even so it was worth it, because those notes were the symbol of their friendship. When the day finally came to remove his cast, his mother confirmed the promise: the hair straightening gift was ready. Seri decided to wait for the perfect moment. She wanted her hair straight for the confession. The big day arrived. On the school trip, Seri stepped off the bus with her newly straightened hair and turned heads. She was radiant, beautiful with or without it, but in her mind this moment mattered. At the evening gathering, classmates set up tiny lights for Seri to confess to Hyun. Each student thanked their families. A friend brought Hyun to the glowing spot. He sensed what might happen. But Seri's heart surprised her. She told Hyun she'd admired him for a long time and even straightened her hair for him. Yet standing there, all she could think of was someone who made her feel light, spontaneous, completely herself, no posing, no mask. Hyun understood, and they rejoined the group without drama. Back in Busan, Yoon-Seok limped to a cab after seeing Hyun smile and misunderstood the scene. That night, in the library, Seri handed him a comic he wanted to read. She admitted she hadn't asked Hyun to be her boyfriend, she had changed her mind and asked him to keep it secret until exams were over. His face lit up. She playfully demanded a family snack kit as a study reward. He pretended to complain but was clearly happy. Days later, Seri felt a tiny stab of jealousy when she saw Yoon-Seok laughing with Andy. That evening he told his mother he might postpone his university entrance exam, a strange choice full of hidden meaning. That night he appeared at Seri's door with a giant bag of candy, exactly as she'd requested. Point for him. Exam day arrived. Seri's father was relaxed, her mother busy with her sister's test, so Seri went alone. Parents crowded the entrance, cheering their kids. Seri tried to stay calm. Then a costumed mascot appeared, handing her a small gift bag. Inside was a snow globe, just like the one she'd wanted. She knew immediately it was from Yoon-Seok. The gesture filled her with courage for the test. Afterward the teacher organized a dinner at a restaurant. Seri said she needed to help her mom and slipped away. Yoon-Seok copied the excuse and left too. Their friends weren't fooled, they followed at a distance, watching the two walk side by side toward the sea. There Seri remembered the rescue day and asked why he'd risked it when he couldn't swim. Yoon-Seok opened his bag and his heart. He said he'd been in a dark place mentally, and when he saw a girl floating with a calm smile, he felt there was still light in the world. He pulled out the little name card he'd kept as a memory of the one who saved him and confessed that he was captivated by Seri. She smiled in silence, the kind that says everything. Hands held, butterflies in their stomachs, the world suddenly pink. On the way home he asked about Sunday plans. She loved hearing herself in his plans. But suddenly his mother had to rush to Seoul for an emergency, and he worried. Seri traveled with her family for a day of stargazing, but they agreed to meet Sunday. She even invited her friends to help prepare something special. Sunday arrived. They met at the beach, sharing shy hugs and waiting for the perfect moment until a phone call from his mother interrupted everything. Yoon-Seok raced to a public phone. The news was serious, his mother was in the hospital. The special plan would have to wait. At the hospital, Yoon-Seok found his mother injured. His respected doctor father claimed she'd fallen down the stairs, but the tension was clear and dangerous. His mother urged him to go with her to the United States for safety. Back home, Seri accidentally dropped the snow globe and gasped. She sent him a voice message saying she missed him, then deleted it. To free him from any burden, she sent another saying they could just stay friends so he could travel without guilt. It hurt, but it was her way of protecting him. The next day friends learned the salon had suddenly closed. Seri grabbed all the money she had and rushed to Seoul, finding Yoon-Seok at the hospital. From a distance she heard his mother say they needed to stay away from danger for a while. Seri left in tears. Time passed. Flipping through a photo album, she was overcome with longing. In the library she found the notebook Yoon-Seok had given her. Inside was a love diary, photos of her, little notes about how she'd revived his curiosity for life since 1998. He even thanked her father for gifting him a camera, which helped him capture smiles and memories. Seri cried as she read. Her friends arranged a blind date, but she wasn't interested. At a seaside cafe, the owner said the table facing the ocean was lucky he'd met his own girlfriend from Seoul there. It felt like fate nudging her. On the day of the meeting, the owner's girlfriend sensed Seri's sadness and heard the story of that summer. She said the classic line, "Life might surprise you." Seri walked to the sand to cancel the date with a text saying she wasn't feeling well. A reply came instantly, "Not feeling well? You look perfect." She looked around, thinking someone was watching. Just a nearby couple, until, suddenly, Yoon-Seok appeared behind her. Their reunion made her heart race. Seri apologized for pushing him away, explaining it was fear of his father and that she had never stopped liking him. Yoon-Seok said he'd heard her first voice message before she deleted it and kept the recording like a lucky charm. He showed a new jar filled with notes, he'd written one every time he thought of her. Seri nearly cried, and they finally made official what was already in their hearts. Their friends celebrated from afar like it was a championship win. Over time, instead of her father's old library, they built a home filled with books. Seri read comics aloud while Yoon-Seok peeled tangerines, pretending to feed her but eating them himself just to tease, a silly, happy routine. The lesson stayed clear. To love someone is to accept every quirk, every day, curly or straight hair, sunny or cloudy moods. What matters is feeling safe, without fear of judgment. Because in that easy comfort, love blooms. And that's how their story went on, full of warmth, partnership, and the beautiful choice to pick each other every single day.